Alright, this is Mr. Ponytron back once again, bringing you another reading of The Impossible Child. This time it'll be Chapter 4, Cadence. Future Twilight and Future Derpy had a long night, tossing and turning and worrying about the Doctor and Cadence and past Derpy until they finally slept in the safety of Future Derpy's basement. When they woke, they heard a knock on the front door upstairs. "Huh?" said Future Derpy. "Who'll be knocking on my door at this hour?" Both her and Future Twilight made their way upstairs and answered the door, and what they saw in the doorway really surprised them. There were two guards from the Crystal Empire. One orange Pegasus looked very familiar to Future Twilight. And then Future Derpy and Twi saw Cadence. "Twilight," said Cadence, surprised. "I didn't expect to see you here. Say, would you know where—" She then trailed off when she saw Future Derpy. "Mom? Is that really you?" asked Cadence. Future Derpy gave a smile, and then started saying the rhyme, "Sunshine, sunshine, ladybugs awake, clap your hooves and do a little shake." At this, Princess Cadence rushed to her mother and embraced her. "I missed you so much," she said. "All these years you have no idea how much I wanted to see you again." "Well, look at you," said Future Derpy, "all grown up." Cadence hugged her mom a little tighter and said, "I forgive you." Of course Future Derpy was sort of confused at this. "Huh?" she asked. "What do you mean?" "The day I became an alicorn," said Cadence. "I saw your past self on the roof when you accidentally bumped into the school bell. The one that crushed me. I knew all this time you lived with some sort of guilt, and Mom, I forgive you." Future Derpy hugged her daughter in silence for a few moments. Then Cadence said something that surprised her. "Mom, do you want to come live with me?" And now, back to the current Doctor and Derpy. Young Cadence finally woke up and saw the Doctor. "Dad?" she said. "Ah, there she is," said the Doctor enthusiastically. What happened?" said Cadence as she rubbed her head. "Why don't you take a look in the mirror and see?" said the Doctor. "Huh? Why?" asked Cadence. She then looked at her surroundings. Why are we in the TARDIS?" ordered Cadence. "It's a long story," said the Doctor. "But for now, find a mirror. You're in for a big surprise." "Well, where's your mirror again?" questioned Cadence. The Doctor looked at his future daughter through the interior of the TARDIS, and helped her... The Doctor took his future daughter through the interior of the TARDIS, and helped her find a mirror. Along the way, they bumped into Derpy. "Ah, Miss Hooves, just in time," said the Doctor. He then turned to Cadence. "Now, a mirror is just in there to your left," he said. Okay," said Cadence. She walked into the room, leaving Derpy and the Doctor behind. "Doctor?" asked Derpy, but the Doctor shushed her. "But shh," said the Doctor. "Why?" Derpy whispered. The Doctor whispered and said, "Sound of surprise in 3, 2, 1. And then there was a scream. "Now we enter," said the Doctor. When they entered, they saw their future daughter look at her hooves and at her reflection again. But, stuttered Cadence. "Dinky," said the Doctor, "what's the last thing you remember?" "Dad, how—" But the Doctor repeated the question. "No, well, let's see. I was at the school playground, and I couldn't breathe because of a bell." Her eyes widened and then looked at the Doctor. "Dad, am I dead?" Cadence and/or Dinky asked. The Doctor laughed. "No, far from it, really," he said. "You've regenerated." Cadence gave a confusing look. Gave a confused look. The Doctor then put a hoof on her shoulder, and he said, "Before a Time Lord dies, he or she takes on another form. This is how we managed to live for so long. Now, other than finding that you have a new body, you'll also figure out that you may have different personality traits than your past self. What does that mean? Asked Cadence. Well, with me, said the doctor, there are times I remember where I used to love cricket, or where I used to talk too much too fast, or the time where I used to do a lot of heavy reading, things like that. Oh, said Cadence. Now, don't worry, you'll still have all your memories, and all the things you've learned from your past self will still be with you, said the doctor. Cadence looked at herself again in the mirror and asked, So, is this why you call yourself the doctor? The doctor was taken aback at this. What do you mean? He said. I mean, look at me, she said. I remember being Dinky, but I don't feel like I am Dinky. Is this why you don't have a name? Is it because every time you change you're somebody else? Just who am I? At this, the doctor got an idea. He whispered to Derpy, saying, Derpy, go get the crown. Derpy sprung into action and came back with the little crown. Now, Dinky, take a seat, said the doctor. She did so, and the doctor, holding the crown in his hooves, said, Do you hereby swear to protect every living thing from those who attempt to harm, to take on responsibility for your own actions, and to do this as long as you live? Cadence nodded and said, Yes, Dad. At this, the doctor gave a smile and raised the crown above Cadence's head and said, Then I hereby dub thee Princess Cadence, heir to the Crystal Empire, living daughter of Gallifrey and lord of space and time, blah, blah, blah. Long may she reign. The doctor then put the crown upon her head. Wait, said Cadence, now what? I don't even know how to be a princess. Well, you have an interesting point, said the doctor, with a hoof to his chin. I know. Sorry, this is the doctor. I know. Let's start with something small and work our way up. Like what? Asked Cadence. I was thinking falsetting, said the doctor. Falsetting? Asked Cadence. Why's that? Why that? Well, it teaches you responsibility and how to deal with somebody else, said the doctor. Oh, said Cadence. So, who am I falsetting anyway? Well, I did have some pony particular in mind, said the doctor. In fact, we're not too far from where she lives. I might as well say that you two would get along really well. Who? Asked Cadence. The doctor answered by saying, just a filly that might be a princess in her future, and all of Equestria who would need to be saved from utter destruction multiple times. Twilight? Shouted Cadence. My teacher? Why? This may sound cliché for a moment, but this may be your destiny, dear, said the doctor. But, said Cadence, how would I let ponies know I'm a princess? Well, for starters, you're an Elkhorn. Last time I checked, there are 2 princesses here, and one of them has been banished to the moon. That, and the doctor said as he looked at his psychic paper out of a random place on his person. As he took psychic paper out of a random place on his person. Do you know why I always carry these? He asked. So you can go places and get what you want? Asked Cadence. No, said the doctor. I use this because ponies will tend to believe the written word over a spoken one. Then Cadence asked a question, and it was rather awkward. So, if you're my past dad and past mom, when are you going to start dating? The doctor was speechless. Doctor? Asked Derpy, waving a hoof in front of his face. That sort of reminds me. I need to tell you something. Charming coincidence, because I need to say something also, said the doctor. Well, in that case, why don't you go first, said Derpy. No, it's quite all right. Why don't you go first? Asked the doctor. No, I think you should start, said Derpy, blushing. No, you go, I insist, said the doctor. They both went back and forth like this for a little while. Both of them were too nervous to tell the other, which made Cadence all the more nervous. I gotta do something, she thought. If neither one hits it off, I wouldn't even exist. Think! Think! Then Cadence had an idea. It would be a long shot, but if she was ever going to be born, she would do so. On the spot, she came up with a spell in her head. A spell used for the main purpose of love. Not like a love potion, where ponies are forced to love, but rather to give the specific ponies confidence to love. And just like that, the spell was cast. Both the doctor and Derpy went silent as they looked into each other's eyes. Miss Hooves? Asked the doctor. Yes? Well, said the doctor, I was wondering that after we dropped Cadence off, I was wondering if we could go somewhere beautiful. I'll even let you decide where you'd like to go. Sure, said Derpy. I'd like to. Cadence did a sigh of relief at what she accomplished. The doctor was staring at Derpy for a few moments. That adorable smile, he thought with a stupid grin on his face. Dad? Cadence asked, taking the doctor out of his hypnotic stupor. Uh-huh, said the doctor, suddenly. Oh, yes, full sitting. Well, come along then. The doctor and Derpy escorted Cadence to the exit. The house we go to is down the street at the corner, said the doctor. Here's your psychic paper. And, by the way, nice cutie mark. The last thing the doctor said just got through to Cadence when she exited the TARDIS. Oh, and one more thing, said the doctor. Cadence turned. Yes? She asked. I'll make sure to check up on you every now and again to see how you're doing. Well, have fun falsetting. At this, the doctor closed the TARDIS doors and disappeared in a whooshing noise. Cadence looked at her flank, and there was indeed a cutie mark there. It was in the shape of a heart that looked like a blue crystal, with to what seemed like golden dragons of some kind circled around it to a point. And above the blue heart was a small ruby with a gold trim. Cadence was giggling joyously at the fact that she got her cutie mark. She then skipped all the way to the Philly Twilight's house. Well, here goes, she said. When she knocked on the door, and a moment later, a deep blue unicorn stallion answered. Yes, he said. Suddenly his eyes widened and he blinked a couple of times. May I help you? He asked Cadence. Is this the Sparkles' home? Cadence asked. It is, said the stallion. Cadence supposed him to be Twilight's dad. I'm Princess Cadence of the Crystal Empire, she said. Cadence then took out the psychic paper and asked, You're not in need of a full sitter, are you? That's odd, said Twilight's dad. Me and my wife were just looking for a sitter for a while. Well, I'll do it, said Cadence with the utmost confidence. So, can I come in? Of course, Your Highness, said Twilight's dad. Enter Twilight's mom, stage left. Twilight's mom ran up to Twilight's dad and said, Dear, what if she's a vampire? You shouldn't have invited her in! Whoa, maybe that's where my teacher's paranoia comes from, Cadence thought. Honey, it's the middle of the day, Twilight's dad said. And if we don't hurry, we'll be late. He then turned to Cadence. Our little Twilight's upstairs, said Twilight's dad. We'll be back in a few hours. After Twilight's folks left, Cadence headed upstairs. She found little Twilight where her father said she was. She was upstairs in her room and reading. An interesting book, I might add. A book entitled Beauty and the Beast. At first Cadence thought it very strange seeing her teacher very young and without a cutie mark. Twilight Sparkle? Asked Cadence. The young Twilight looked up and her eyes suddenly widened. There was the princess in her bedroom. But Cadence was cut off when Twilight screamed, Oh my gosh, 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 oh my gosh! A real princess! I can't believe it! Who are you? Why are you here? What's your name? The Cadence silenced Twilight for a few seconds with her hoof and released it after asking, "Jeez, can you slow down for a bit, please?" "Oh, I'm sorry," said Twilight. "It's just, I never met a princess before." "Really?" Cadence asked. "Yeah. Haven't you met Princess Celestia?" Cadence asked. "No," said Twilight. "But I did see her once. It would be nice to meet her." "Oh, well, why don't we start over?" said Cadence asked. "I'm Princess Cadence, but you can just call me Cadence." "Twilight Sparkle," said Twilight with a smile. "Why are you here?" she asked. "Well, believe it or not, I'm your full setter," said Cadence. Twilight brightened even more. "My parents got a princess to full set me?" she squealed in excitement. "Well, yes and no," said Cadence. "It's a little hard to explain, really." Then Cadence noticed the piles of books nearby. She levitated the one on top to her and read out loud, "The Complete Idiot's Guide to Magic? Is this your parents' book?" "Nope, they're all mine," said Twilight with a grin. "Wait, how old are you?" Cadence asked. "5," said Twilight. Cadence's eyes widened, and then she went silent for a moment. "So why are you reading these?" Cadence asked. "So I can be good at magic, silly," giggled Twilight. "I gotta keep my mind sharp after all." That's when Cadence got an idea. "Say, you want to play a game I learned from my dad?" she asked. "What game?" asked Twilight. "It's a mind game," said Cadence, "and I think it's probably the best way to get to know you." "What is it?" asked an eager Twilight. "The ultimate hide and seek," Cadence announced. "Ooh, how do you play?" Twilight asked. "Oh, it's real easy," said Cadence. "I put my front hooves on both sides of your head." She does so. "Now close your eyes." Twilight did, and so did Cadence. Twilight gasped. "Princess!" she squealed. "I can see you in my mind!" "Uh-huh," said Cadence. "Now, the rules are very simple. When you count to 5, I'll go hide somewhere in your memories." "How do I find you?" Twilight asked. "Just recall every memory you have, and I'll be in there," said Cadence. "Now, you ready?" "Ready," said Twilight, a little excited. "Start counting," said Cadence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. "Ready or not, here I come," shouted Twilight. And thus began their game, as well as their friendship. The end. And that is the last chapter to this story, guys. So yeah, you can subscribe, rate, and whatever. All right, and this is Mr. Ponytron signing off.